I'm Adam Pritchard, and it is past time for a Pastime News Bite. From the journal Anatomical Record, Evolutionary Trends in the Jaw Adductor Mechanics of Ornithischian Dinosaurs. Now, this is a new piece of research from Dr. Ali Nabavizadeh from the University of Chicago. Ali recently got his Ph.D. from Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, studying the functional morphology of dinosaur jaws. In past time, we've talked about functional morphology in quite a few episodes. It's the science of looking at the anatomy and the shape of an organism and how that allows it to interact with its environment and with other organisms. Ali was specifically focused on dinosaur jaws and their functional morphology. He was looking mostly at a group called Ornithischians. That includes a huge range of different dinosaurs that existed throughout their history. The duck-billed hadrosaurs, the plated stegosaurs, armored ankylosaurs, horned ceratopsians, iguanodon, and a whole host of small herbivores. They were basically the great experiment in eating plants among dinosaurs. If you look at their teeth, the shapes of their jaws, these animals explored all kinds of different ways to chow down on plants. Ali was specifically interested in seeing how these animals evolved different bite forces. The bite force is the relative power of the jaws when the muscles pull them shut. In some organisms, a strong bite can be extremely important for either clamping down on prey or crushing plant material. In other cases, a relatively weak bite probably can suffice, with plant or meat material being broken down in the gut. As with many paleontologists in the past, Dr. Nabavizadeh recognized the huge range of different jaw shapes and tooth shapes in these animals, and he wanted to see how exactly bite force changed across these huge changes in Ornithischian dinosaur evolution. Now, Ali, like me, loves details. We like knowing about every single little species of reptile, of dinosaur that existed in the past. And Ali wanted to approach this project by looking at a huge range of different Ornithischian dinosaurs known from good skull material. So he scoured museums and the literature to collect data on over 50 different Ornithischian dinosaurs. He used his knowledge of modern reptile jaw mechanics to understand where the muscles would attach, and made estimates of the relative bite forces in these many different dinosaur lineages to try and understand where the major changes happen. What he found was really interesting. There seems to be a strong trend towards super powerful bites, especially in the back of the jaw, among the duck-billed hadrosaurs like Parasaurolophus and Edmontosaurus, and the big horned dinosaurs like Triceratops, Centrosaurus. These animals also exhibit extremely complicated, interlocking sets of teeth that apparently allow them to grind up plant material on a very fine scale. So this, in combination with a strong bite, apparently made them very successful. But a successful lineage doesn't always need a strong bite. In this case, Ali found relatively weak bites among the armored ankylosaurs and the plated stegosaurs. These were not animals that really emphasized powerful bites, and their teeth are also relatively simple, leaf-like structures. And so through this comprehensive study, Dr. Nabavizadeh has shown that the major differences in the bony structure of the jaws and the attachment sites for these muscles in these dinosaur groups correspond to major differences in the bite forces that these animals were capable of, and thus likely major differences in their strategies for procuring food during the Mesozoic era. You know, on Pastime, Matt and I are very often talking about new observations made by paleontologists, new species discovered in the field or in museum collections, or new facts discovered about the fossils we already have. But this is only the first step in the scientific method of paleontology. We first make observations, but then we have to generate hypotheses. We have to propose explanations of what our new data is saying about how the past operated. Like the hypothesis that the major difference in Ornithischian dinosaur jaw anatomy means major differences in their jaw function as well. Then the hypothesis must be tested, either through collecting new observations or running experiments or analyses like Dr. Nabavizadeh did to see if the data lines up
with the hypothesis idea. If it does, we can keep the hypothesis and maybe test it again later once more data has been collected. If it doesn't, we reject the hypothesis and have to replace it with a new explanation of what the data actually mean. And a big part of paleontology is testing those sorts of hypotheses, like Dr. Nabavizadeh did with this analysis of Ornithischian jaws. And that's how his study can keep testing our hypotheses of past time.